Imagine living daily as an incurable disease rages throughout your body, causing debilitating pain. Symptoms such as excessive weight loss and hair loss. You don't even recognize yourself in the mirror anymore. And the people that you love look on with pity, fear, and anguish as you wither away slowly. This is an all too real situation happening right now in a hospital or in a palliative care facility. Patients who were once vibrant and full of life are now laboring to breathe, have lost control of their bowels and bladders, and must rely on someone else to provide care for their very basic needs. They pray for death, and that prayer falls on deaf ears, because what they ask for is illegal in most of the United States. What they ask for is euthanasia. Euthanasia is defined as the painless killing of a patient suffering from an incurable and painful disease or an irreversible coma. And while there are many types of euthanasia, I refer specifically to physician-assisted suicide. The practice of euthanasia has been around since ancient Greek and Roman times. When Hippocrates penned the Hippocratic Oath, it changed the course of euthanasia, when he specifically prohibited medical professionals ending the life of a patient, even at the patient's request. The Hippocratic Oath has been modified in recent years as more autonomy is placed on the patient. There are many who oppose the euthanizing patients, though this is a right we grant to suffering and terminal animals without second thought. It is considered humane to end the suffering of an animal, but when we talk about ending the suffering of a human being, we cringe at the thought. Why should animals have more rights to a peaceful and pain-free death than that of a human being? The biggest opposition comes from religious leaders and followers. The Christian faith teaches us that murder is wrong, and while euthanasia is the ending of another's life, it is a far cry from robbing someone without their consent of a fulfilling life. It is also important to note that there is a division of church and state granted to us by the Free Will Clause of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. While this clause was written as a protection from religious affiliations and their followers, it can be argued that if the state cannot make laws regarding the church cannot make laws regarding the state. Many of the people who seek out euthanasia have exhausted all other options for treatment. This is not their first choice. It may not even be their third or fourth choice, but it should be a choice they can make for themselves. By legalizing euthanasia, we are not imposing on the rights of any person. Those who are opposed to euthanasia are not forced to be euthanized. However, by criminalizing euthanasia, we are infringing on the rights of someone who is already suffering. Patient autonomy has become more important in the modern age, when patients have access to a world of knowledge and they are more educated than in the past. We allow patients to refuse any medical treatment, including life-saving. With advanced directives, patients can refuse resuscitation, intubation, medication, or procedures. There should be an advanced directive allowed by law to quickly and painlessly end this patient's suffering. Physicians swear to the modern Hippocratic Oath to not play at God, but where do we draw the line at playing God? Does reviving someone who died through God's will play at God? Or are we only playing God when the role reverses and we ease someone into death quicker than the course of their disease? There is arguing that legalizing euthanasia as it pertains to physician-assisted suicide will snowball into catastrophic consequences, leading to involuntary euthanasia or killing someone without their consent. This is known as a slippery slope fallacy. We cannot withhold legalizing anything simply because it could lead to negative consequences. For instance, the right to bear arms. It would seem that there is nearly a mass shooting weekly, and yet guns are still able to be legally procured, even though the legal purchase could lead to illegal activity. We cannot continue to let patients who are suffering and dying to go on praying for death. We should not only hear their prayers, but give them a legal avenue to end their suffering. If killing a suffering animal is the humane thing to do, why are we allowing humans to suffer when humans have the capacity to speak and think about their own choices?